Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest today from InventoryLab. We've been strategic partners with InventoryLab for many years now, and we're so happy and excited to have Andrea and Jeff on our show today. So we welcome Andrea and Jeff to the show.
Hey, how's it going, Samuel?
Hi, guys. So today, for all of our audience, for BQool customers, we want to introduce you to one of the best inventory planning software on the market. And InventoryLab has been in the industry for over 9 years. So happy birthday, guys. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
And then BQool has also been, we started around the same time in the same space. So we have integration with InventoryLab. What's more is there's a special promotion for people who stay till the very end. And this is not for everybody. It's for the people who are listening, for the people who pay attention and take notes and learn some of the techniques of getting your inventory management to the next level. What we want to ask you today, Andrea and Jeff, is how did InventoryLab start it? How did you guys start, and what's the founding story?
Sure. So our founder and CEO, Ryan Stevens, and our co-founder and CTO, Forrest Wang, they started InventoryLab in March of 2013. And like you just said, we celebrated our 9th anniversary on March 17th. So happy birthday to us.
Yay.
Happy birthday. Like most startups, we have humble beginnings. Ryan was a high school dropout working 14 hours a day at 2 jobs when he realized, why not just run my own business? So he decided dabbling and selling FBA on Amazon and sold books, handbags, smartphones, you name it. And the sourcing tools available at the time were very limited and made it difficult for Ryan to see his profits from his hard work. So he was keeping track of everything on an Excel spreadsheet, which we all know is a lot of repetitive and daunting work. And Ryan realized other sellers must be having the same problems as he was running into. So he decided to help the broader selling community by developing his own app that would track expenses and generate reports, along with improving the tools already available on the market. And that's when Forrest came in. Forrest was actually working at IBM in China when he met Ryan. And he was also looking for something to do more for work than someone else. They immediately began building what we know as InventoryLab. The beta version was launched in March 2013, and their goal of having 100 sellers in 1 month was decimated. Our first ever customer is still an active user to this day, actually. So
No way.
That's how we got our beginnings. Yeah.
Wow.
Our first active user.
I mean, what does that tell you, right? The first customer 9 years ago, he still stick with you guys all of these years.
Yep.
Why? Like, how did that happen?
Consistency, I think, and with just improving our platform as the years went on, because we started off very basic and it looks almost nothing like what we have now. It's so robust what we have now, our platform is.
I personally wish that I used InventoryLab when I was, I sold on eBay for many years as well. And I had the same issue that you mentioned that Ryan has, all the Excel sheets, tracking your inventory, all the different boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you send out the product, it's hard to track the products. So could you tell us a little bit about what exactly is inventory management?
Yeah, so in the broader sense of inventory management, if you were talking manufacturing company, it's raw materials all the way through the final product. But in terms of e-commerce, it's tracking your inventory from the time you purchase it all the way through the sale of it. And along with that, you're monitoring for stock outs, when you need to replenish, those sorts of things. So it's keeping track of your inventory and making sure you have enough in stock to keep making sales. And with Amazon, they have their infamous buy box. So once you get the buy box, you don't want to lose that buy box, because that's where your sales come. That's the main item on the page. You click buy now, and that's your product going if you have the buy box. So to keep those items in stock will keep you in the buy box. And so if you run out of stock, that can drop you down the list. So
yeah, when you're out of stock, especially let's say you're selling an item, your bestseller rank could go down, like for sure. Right?
Mhm.
Right.
What are some of the common inventory issues that your customers, Amazon sellers, face?
The biggest one is when you're in Seller Central, it's confusing at best. So the ability to find useful information that's going to help you make purchasing decisions, keep from running out of stock, how much am I making on this? Should I even buy this product again? Those sorts of things, those basic bits of information, it's difficult or impossible to find it in Seller Central. So with InventoryLab, we have a user interface that's very friendly. It's very simple to find information. You can go, for example, if I can share my screen, I can show you just an example of how easy it is. So this is our main page. If I want to know how my sales are doing on a certain day, I just go to accounting, FBA sales, and right away it's going to pop. This is a test account, so obviously we don't have a lot in there, but if this was an active account, you can see that your sales are just listed here. And right away, I can just check the net profit. If it's green, I know I'm making money. If I see red, well, then maybe I need to look further into that. But then I can also see how much I'm making with each transaction. And so you can't get that information in Seller Central. It's like Andrea mentioned, and you also mentioned, having a spreadsheet. If you just use Seller Central alone, you'd also have to have a spreadsheet. You'd have to download the information from Seller Central. You'd have to upload it into your spreadsheet. Then you'd have to create your own calculations and all of that goes with it. Here, we've done it for you in an easy to understand interface. And so this also leads, to, several reports that we have, your profitability. You can tell at a glance if something's profitable on the profitability reports. And that all goes back to listing your item initially and putting those the cost, buy cost, supplier, and purchase on your list. Something you can't do in Seller Central because they don't keep track of that. So
the difference between like not using InventoryLab, just using regularly Amazon Seller Central versus InventoryLab is InventoryLab pulls all the important data that you need, and you're able to find maybe what your gross profit is for the item, and you can tell which of the items is bringing you a lot of profits. And
right.
with all the expenses, all the different Amazon costs, all different fees, and then it really can help you save time. Like, let's say for a customer, for an Amazon seller, what's the number of SKU that you suggest people to start using InventoryLab rather than doing manually pulling that data? What's your suggestion for them?
We don't have a set number of SKUs that you should start InventoryLab with, but we do suggest possibly having about a month of sales data for us to go off of. That way you can actually look at your reports, look at your profit and loss report, other things that you can look at in our platform. So we suggest usually about a month of sales in order to get started on InventoryLab.
Yeah, I could just imagine this scenario. Let's say you went out, maybe online arbitrage, retail arbitrage, you got maybe like 15 items, and then you're selling it at a loss. So each item you're losing $2-3. So the whole month you're losing more than $45. But if you had InventoryLab, that could be something different. Somebody with InventoryLab in that specific scenario, what would they do?
The process with our batch system that Ryan and Forrest came up with, you can list your items in Seller Central, and set the list price and set the SKU and all of that and create your shipments from there. But when you're using the list process, you basically come to the list and prep page, and then you create what you call batches, and that's what these are here. And then as you add items into the batch, I'll just show you what one looks like. So this is one that was found. Gives you some item information directly from Amazon. And then as you list it, you can put the quantity, the average cost for it, or your cost for it, purchase date, supplier, if there is one. If it's an expiration dated item, you'd put that in as well. And then you can I can't edit the MSKU now because it's already in the batch, but you can create your own MSKU if you'd like. So by just doing this simple process, it takes less time than it does in Seller Central, yet you've already added so much value to this item because now you've got the buy cost in there. This buy cost is going to pull from the inventory pages where you can actually go to. So I could go to this inventory page, and I can also look at these items and see what the buy cost is and what the list price is currently. And this view is the lead time, but if I had the standard view on, I can see all the information about the items I've listed, and these are synced directly from Seller Central. And it'll show me on hand how many times I've sent it in, the active cost, also show me the list price. So that's all put in there just by listing that one item in a batch and sending the batch feeds to Amazon. We automatically pull that into the inventory. And then from there, like you mentioned before, Samuel, it feeds into all of the financial reports. So now using the same thing or same process that I would have used in Seller Central with just a few more steps, I've got so much more information at my fingertips. Now I can check sales. I can check profitability. I can look at my profit and loss. I see if I'm making any money on that item.
If I'm an Amazon seller using InventoryLab, what is the process? Like, what's the step-by-step process that I should do? For example, if I've never used InventoryLab, how do I get started? What is the process that I should do?
You can start using InventoryLab if you have a pro seller account on the Amazon US marketplace. And we do have a free 30-day trial. So if you want to give us a try, it's a free 30-day trial. So basically, to get started, after you have sourced your products, let's say, you're now in Stratify. Now that is our desktop platform, and that's where all the listing and the accounting happens. So what you want to do is click New Batch in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And then here you can either select a buy list, which is a file that contains all of your purchase information that you can import from our app, Scoutify, too, which we'll go into more detail about that later. But here's where you'd set up your packing type if you want to do individual items or case packed, if you want to do FBA or MFN, and then also your workflow type. So we have two types of workflows. We have private, which is it'll show you list your items and then you submit them through the feeds through Amazon, and you'll get back where you're going to be sending those items to. Whereas if you have a live batch, it gets listed right away and it gets assigned a shipment immediately. So once you add that item to your batch, it's already listed. And then you can use your label preferences, which usually people like to label their own items. Or if you have commingling turned on, FBA should label all my items and reject the items that can't be labeled, or I will label the items as necessary. And then you can also you can save we have box contents, so you can provide your box contents directly in InventoryLab. We'll go over that more in detail in just a second. And also your min-max preferences. You'll either want to save those to InventoryLab, don't capture, or send them to Amazon. So you don't actually have to send your min-max prices to Amazon if you don't want to. We have a lot of users who are worried about that, and we don't share that. If you select that you don't want to share that information with Amazon, you do not have to. So,
Yeah,
and then once you get all your settings.
Definitely, I think, that's the advantage of third-party Amazon software. We're not sharing your mins and max with Amazon, because the worst thing that could happen is you go out, you buy 20, 30 of an item based on the information, based on, let's say you go on the Keepa and or other charts, and then you thought you would sell it at this price, and then Amazon goes into that listing and it just makes it a lot less profitable in most cases.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Once you have all your settings selected and all the parameters you want selected, then you just hit create, and now you're ready to start listing. It's that easy. So now you can just type in an ASIN, or if you have a scanner, you can scan the UPC code, and that will also bring up the result as well. That's what a lot of people do. They use their scanners mostly to get the UPC, because that's the most direct way to get the ASIN that you're looking for. And that combs through the entire Amazon catalog. So we're synced with the Amazon catalog directly.
Well, that's fantastic. Could you tell me a little bit more about your app, Scoutify 2, and also Stratify. What can sellers
Oh,
do with them?
sure.
Because you mentioned that you can, you tell us a little bit more about that. So, what are they for?
Sure. So the whole process kind of starts if we're measuring we're tracking the lifespan of your inventory with InventoryLab. And InventoryLab includes the app Scoutify 2, and it also includes the desktop version, which is just called Scout, and the listing and the accounting part, which is called Stratify. So it's Scoutify, Scout, and Stratify. Scoutify 2 is the app, and that's used for scouting and sourcing product to sell on Amazon. You can do your research while scouting with our app, and you can actually see your ROI percentage before even purchasing an item to see if it's a good fit. And then you can also use this to enter your accounting data, such as the cost of the product, the supplier, and purchase date as well. And that's all within the app before you can even make a purchase if you choose not to. So you can do all that research from our app. And then from there, you can add items to what we call a buy list. So when you're ready to list your products, you already have all the accounting information entered. And that's what I was talking about before. When you start a batch, you can just import that buy list directly from our app with all the accounting information already entered. And it's just so seamless. You can just go from there and then immediately go into listing, and boom, it's so easy.
Oh,
It's a
wow.
really good
Do
tool.
you need to pay extra for, because you have 3 apps in your software?
Yeah.
Like, you need to pay extra for
Yeah.
that.
No, it's all included in the $49 a month, or we do $480 a year for an annual subscription.
Oh,
For
wow,
saving
that's
$10
a
a month.
great deal.
So
Yeah, that's terrific, because I know other software out there, they might charge you additional for each of those items. They would gate it, and then if you want to use that, you got to pay more in some cases.
mhm.
So, what are the main benefits of using InventoryLab?
Sure. So I think the main benefits are that it's user friendly, first off. We talked about trying to find something on Seller Central. It's kind of a nightmare, to put it lightly, and as we all know. And Inventory Lab lets you keep your accounting data separate from Amazon, since you don't want to share that information with them usually. Another benefit is that you can track the complete lifespan of your inventory from sourcing to sale, and you can generate documents relevant for tax time, all within our software. And it's also real accounting. So you can enter all of your various expenses for boxes. Maybe you have a virtual assistant salary, your mileage for when you're driving around doing your sourcing, warehouse fees, and you can do that all in one place in our profit and loss statement. So you can get it down to the penny just about when you use our software, when you use Inventory Lab.
I think that's really important, especially, tax season is coming up, April
Mhm.
18th this year. So it's
Yeah.
really important if you have a software like this. And could you tell us, how is Inventory Lab, how are you better than some of your competitors out there in the market?
Sure. Yep. We never have really compared ourselves to any of the competitors as far as what we do better or what we offer and they don't. But we instead like to let our customers and potential customers know what we can offer them, so they can decide if we're a good fit for their business model. We realize that we're not going to be the best option for every business out there, but we think we offer quite a few capabilities with our software, the 3 apps that we have. They might decide that another company can provide the services for their particular workflow needs better, and so that's okay with us. We like to support anybody that's supporting the e-commerce seller. So, and that's why we're fine with that. We just realize that no one tool can do everything, but customers that have needs specific to what our app does, I think, find us very useful. And one of the main reasons is because we're pretty flexible as far as your workflow. Andrea mentioned, how setting up the batch different ways. And that's one way we can be flexible in case somebody has a preference for a workflow. But also some people don't like to do shipments within Inventory Lab. They prefer to do everything in Seller Central, and that's fine. They can still create the listings in Inventory Lab, keep track of all of their buy costs, and get the same benefit. And we allow them an option to upload the shipping plan feeds directly to Amazon to then create their shipments from. So that we simplify that process. Another example would be some people use prep centers. They get to a certain point in their business where, it's just too much for their few employees to handle. So they decide maybe they're going to have a prep center do most of this. And so some prep centers do work with us, which is great. You can create a sub account and allow your prep center to actually work within your account and create everything that way. Most prep centers, though, work in Seller Central strictly. That's it. That's where the uploading of the shipping plan also works in your benefit, because you can still keep track of your buy cost. You know what's going to the prep center. You put all of that in there. You create your shipping plan. The prep center can then modify that shipment if they need to and let you know what the change is. And in our application, you can then easily modify the purchase quantity on the inventory page. So that's just a couple of different ways that we think our application is flexible enough that we can, I think fit the needs of most every e-commerce seller out there. And even like you mentioned, eBay, we started, I can't remember exactly, it was last year sometime, we have unlisted inventory. And that was because of some requests from our customers that did sell on those other marketplaces, and they needed a place to keep track of their buy costs. Well, unlisted inventory is the place to do it. You can keep track of your inventory that you're selling on eBay or Etsy, those sorts of things. And we're making improvements to that. We have plans to make improvements to that this year. But that'll also allow you to keep track of, on the other account, other income and other expenses pages, you can keep track of your sales from those other marketplaces, and it all feeds into profit and loss. And so you can get an overall picture of your financial health of your business, even if you sell on Etsy and eBay and Amazon, So I think we're a well-rounded application. And so I think we do provide a lot of benefits for e-commerce seller.
So you mentioned, are there any new features or upcoming features in the pipeline? Because now that you're supporting multiple platforms, such as on eBay or Etsy on different platforms.
Yeah, it's not as seamless as like the Amazon integration, obviously, with those other platforms, but we do plan, we're always looking at adding more marketplaces. But I think, one of the biggest things that we've ever added to the applications was the integration, of course, to allow us to partner up with, great companies like yourself.
Oh, thank you.
And that was done. Yeah, you were the first, in fact, you were the first company that used the integration with InventoryLab. That was in July of 2018.
Yes, that's right.
When we started, you were the first. So, we have that, the box contents, the multiple expiration dates, and purchase costs in the same batch for the same ASIN. I mentioned unlisted inventory. There's IL print. We're tracking remote fulfillment now for inventories for people that sell in the Mexican marketplace and the Canadian marketplace. We'll now make adjustments to their inventory. We've also had a couple of recent updates, archived inventory. And that was a pain point for our sellers or our customers, that when they deleted an item in Seller Central, they didn't have a way to get back that cost information since we sync from Seller Central. Now they do, and that can feed into their older sales. So they don't have to manually go back in and add that stuff in. And then, of course, the storage volume limits and the restock limits to keep people from sending in more than they're allowed, but it prevents them from doing that before they get to the shipment creation point. Because once you're there and you get that error, you basically have to start over. So this allows them to prevent themselves from going to that point. We do have some big plans this year. We never really release, dates and times or what we're working on, because things, as you know, in a company like a SaaS company, it changes all the time. It can change from day to day what's going to be, offered or what we're working on. So, but we will be releasing that through our newsletters.
Where can they find this newsletter?
So they can sign up. They go to InventoryLab. They can go to the support portal. And if they just look up newsletter, they can go to our community portal. And you don't have to have an account with us if you don't want to have an account. If you just want to kind of check it out, support.inventorylab.com. And you can go to the community page. And we have all of our InventoryLab announcements here. And there'll be our newsletters and other sorts of announcements. But we do have a sign-up sheet for the newsletter, and I need to find that real quick.
We'll include it in the link, so people can see where they can sign up the newsletter. I personally really like the support site from InventoryLab. It separates and categorizes the different topics that people are looking for. So it's very well designed. It's very easy to navigate. You guys tell us, more about support options. Like, what kind of support options does InventoryLab have?
Sure. So we have support. We have live chat 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, and that's available 8 a.m. Eastern through 5 p.m. Eastern. So we have that on the
Right.
weekdays, and we also have live. We don't have live support on the weekends, but we do have support on the weekends as well. So you can always open a ticket with us, and we'll answer it usually within 24 hours. We actually just won an award from the White Label Expo for having outstanding customer support. So I mean, I think that says it all.
That's amazing. And I know that you guys also have open lab every two
Mhm.
weeks. Yeah, so customers can go in and they could ask questions, and there's experts there to help them with some of the questions. And this is coming from our customer. Like they've asked us this several times. For this question is, do you have any plans to go into Europe? Because we see a lot of customers in Europe. Some of our customers, they're using other inventory planning software that work in Europe.
So we don't have an exact date of when we're going to venture out of the U.S. marketplace for Amazon. I can't give you an exact date, but it is in our roadmap and it's in our plans for the future. That much I can say.
Okay. Another question here that a lot of people are interested is, how do you get the most value using Inventory Lab? Like what are the main pain points that Inventory Lab was able to solve for the Amazon seller?
So it's like what Jeff was saying before, how Inventory Lab is a flexible software. So we accommodate for numerous types of workflows, as you saw from when we were just starting at Open Batch, and our customers can customize that however they like. Instead of telling our customers how they should do their workflow, we like to allow them to poke around and see what works best for their business, while also making sure our users are familiar with the basics and features of our platform. So we like to be not hands off, but we do like our users to kind of discover how to use our platform on their own, because what might work for one seller might not work for another seller. So again, we try to be as flexible as possible to kind of alleviate those pain points. So you can kind of have more control of your business and make more of the key decisions, especially when it comes to the workflow. So.
Oh, the newsletter is up. This is where you can sign up for the
Yeah.
newsletter. Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
The link is actually inventorylab.link/newsletter. So
Okay. We'll be sure to include that in the description so people can sign up for the newsletter as well. And we want to ask you, what are the main benefits of integrating Inventory Lab with BQool?
right. So like I mentioned before, BQool was the first integration partner we had in July of 2018. I'll show you the newsletter. Here's an example of the newsletter. I'll share my screen. This was the BQool announcement, actually. So,
Oh, wow, that's fantastic. That's from a few years back.
yeah, a few years back there, you can see that there's our integration page, or that's it, just cool. So then it led to other repricers, of course, being added in the following years. But you guys, started the integration with us. The big benefit is that using Inventory Lab in conjunction with BQool is that you're going to list your items anyway, so you're adding your costs for those items into Inventory Lab. And now when you use BQool with this integration, BQool is going to be able to pull those costs automatically into your repricer. And so you don't have to then, enter them in Inventory Lab and then enter them in BQool. So there's a big advantage there where it saves you a lot of time because it's just a simple sync process. And the other benefit that BQool is, in fact, the only repricer that does this, is they give you the option to export your min and max file from Inventory Lab if you want to use that, and import that into your BQool account so that you can use the min and max settings that you have set for the items as you list them. So you're the only one that actually takes advantage of that option with the integrations. It's another benefit.
I didn't know that myself. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I didn't know that we're the only ones export min and max. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah. So for our audience, you could save a lot of time. So you could work on more high value items, high value such as sourcing, and also doing other things that are important, talking to wholesalers, if that's in your space. And what kind of results can Amazon sellers expect after using InventoryLab?
So sellers should expect accurate scouting data, the comfort of knowing that we sync directly with your Amazon seller account, so there's a lot of back and forth, and we take care of all that for you instead of you having to do it manually. And the higher chances of winning the buy box with the integration between BQool and InventoryLab for competitive pricing as well.
So typically, I'm going to use a scenario here. Like I'm going to ask very specific here. If I had 100 listings, and most of our users have more than 100 listings, but in maybe they have 200 to 800 listings. In that situation, how much time could they possibly save by using InventoryLab instead of doing this, manual process?
Oh, invaluable time. You can save hours instead of going through Seller Central and doing it that way. It's just such a streamlined process that you save a lot of time, honestly, using InventoryLab.
That's an interesting question, though. I don't know that we've ever, measured it, but like Andrea said, it's hours and hours of time, because if you think about it, you're listing an item in Seller Central. Okay, that gives you the list price, your MSKU, and so then you have to create the shipment. So now you have to pick the items to go into the shipment. So that's another step. And then, you have to create your shipment, of course. But with InventoryLab, and that doesn't include any of the time now that you're keeping track on a separate spreadsheet for all the buy costs, all of that. So by using InventoryLab, it's kind of seamless, and we take the steps out of the process by you list an item, put the cost, supplier, purchase date in there. Expiration date is another thing that you can put in while you're listing the item, and then you send the batch feeds, and that's it. It's all done for you, and now it's a simple
automated
process to create your shipment, because we've already communicated with Amazon behind the scenes. Amazon says send them here. You're not manually creating these shipments in Seller Central. So, yeah.
Yeah, that definitely saves tons of time, especially if you
Right.
have more listings. And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
even very secure as well. Some of our users have said InventoryLab saves at least 5 hours a week. In fact, many even save more
Wow.
than that. Yeah. So imagine
Yeah.
5 hours of your time. So what is the pricing like for InventoryLab?
The pricing right now, it's $49 a month, or it's $480 for an annual subscription. So those
Okay.
are the prices that we have. Yeah.
Yeah. So imagine saving 5 hours of time. How much is that worth for you? And this is even on the low scale. Like other people save a lot more time, and you'll be able to find out which items are profitable. And you get accounting software, and you get the Scoutify and the Scout. You get all of these tools for your arbitrage business. So it's an incredible deal. Yeah, it's a no brainer.
Mhm.
So I want to ask you, Jeff, is there any special promo like for our BQool community? Like I know you talked a little bit earlier about some of the private coaching that you might be able to provide to them.
Right. Yeah, we're starting up, we're calling it customer coaching here in the next few weeks, where we're going to be offering classes, but that's for anybody to sign up in a group setting. But what we can offer, besides, we're going to be giving out 5 swag boxes, as well as a couple of $50 Amazon gift cards. You're going to decide who gets those. But as part of all that, 10 of your customers are also going to get a one-on-one session with me, and then we'll go over InventoryLab in their account or in the test account, so they can see how it all functions. If they start a 30-day free trial, there's no payment required. If they start one of those before they schedule the one-on-one, or at some point before the one-on-one is scheduled, they'll probably get a lot more benefit out of it, so we can look at their numbers and see what their account is doing, and I can show them some tricks, things like that. But yeah, so 10 of your customers, you can, if there's a contest or however you want to dole those out. I'm not sure what you have up your sleeve, but
That's incredible. That's very generous. Thank you, Jeff. So all of the BQool customers listening to this, sign up to InventoryLab. Sign up immediately. Yeah, if you want to enjoy this promotion, it's not going to last. It's a very limited time. So you need to sign up to InventoryLab right away and start seeing all the benefits that we talked about today, especially we got inventory management experts such as Jeff and also Andrea. Andrea is a customer champion of champion. She talks to so many different customers, 6-figure customers, 7-figure customers, even 8-figure customers, to help them out, real life scenarios, and to really build their business to the next level. So we really appreciate Andrea and Jeff for joining us on our show. BQool will be joining their show on Open Labs. So you could ask us questions there if you're an InventoryLab user who's also using BQool. And we look forward to our partnership and collaboration. And it's such a joy to have Andrea and Jeff on the show today. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much, Samuel. Yeah, thank you.
And we look forward to seeing you guys on US time, April 14th, which is after our April 13th conditional repricing launch. So it's going to be super exciting. Tons of great content. Also, we'll have something very special on the Open Labs as well. So make sure to join InventoryLab, the Open Labs. And as well, you must sign up. If you don't remember anything, sign up to InventoryLab. Try out the software with no credit card, 30 days. 30 days. It's $49 value just trying it out. And then, get the coaching. Coaching like this in some other software might cost hundreds of dollars. It could cost you $100, $200. You're talking to an Amazon expert. So, make sure to grab this, sign up to InventoryLab today. We'll see you in the next webinar. Cheers.
Take care.
Bye, everyone.